When a computer that uses the NT operating system starts up, the following things happen. First, BIOS executes the power on self-test. This is normal with most operating systems. Then BIOS executes the master boot record program. Again, this is normal with most operating systems. Then the master boot record program executes the operating system boot program. This is also normal. But at this point, NT begins to take over, because at this point the boot program, the operating system boot program, executes NTLDR. NTLDR is the NT loader program, and the NT loader program then takes over. The NT loader program changes the processor mode from real to protected, and it loads the file system. The NTLDR then reads and loads the bootloader menu, so it looks at what operating systems are available to this computer. Then NTLDR uses ntdetect.com. NTLDR loads the operating system and all the device drivers, and NTLDR passes control to ntOSkernel.exe. If we're watching the boot process, at the point where NTLDR passes control to ntOSkernel.exe, the screen turns blue. We call this the kernel initialization. And at that point, we pretty much know that we're going to get a good startup of NT. Most errors would happen before the kernel initializes. The files that are required for the boot include NTLDR, boot.ini, bootsect.dos if we're dual booting with DOS, ntdetect.com, ntbootdd.sys, but only if we're using SCSI drives, ntOSkernel, HAL.dll. HAL stands for Hardware Abstraction Layer, and what it does is it fools NT into thinking that MIPS and Alpha and PowerPC devices are Intel devices. In other words, it hides the differences and allows NT to work on more than one platform. Also, system and device drivers are required to successfully boot Windows NT. NTLDR, boot.ini, bootsect.dos, ntdetect.com, and ntbootdd.sys are all contained in the system partition. So these are all files that are actually required to boot the operating system. ntOSkernel.exe, HAL.dll, system, and device drivers are contained in the boot partition. So they are required after a successful boot in order to be able to run the operating system. If we have a problem booting the operating system, we can troubleshoot the boot process. And we'll talk about how we can troubleshoot the boot process in